In color, this is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite and Eric Severide in Washington, Tony Sargent in Tay Ninh Province, South Vietnam, Ike Pappas in Bethlehem, and Nelson Benton in Houston.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. The Apollo 8 spacecraft tonight is speeding toward what its commander calls the good Earth. Since leaving lunar orbit, astronauts Borman, Lovell, and Anders have had Christmas turkey dinner. They've exchanged personal and holiday messages with the ground, and they have come back under the dominant pull of the Earth's gravity. Later, they performed the first of perhaps several mid-course corrections designed to bring them to a safe Pacific splashdown on Friday morning. They also transmitted interior views of the spacecraft, and we'll have those pictures a little bit later on. The crucial point for starting their return came at the end of the 10th orbit, when the spacecraft was behind the moon and out of contact with the Earth. This 20,000-pound thrust engine, fired 3 times earlier in the mission to put the spacecraft into its proper orbit, had to work once more. Well, it did, as shown in this animation. The burn lasted 3 minutes 23 seconds and gave the spacecraft a 2,400-mile-an-hour boost, pushing it out of its circular path around the moon. Success wasn't known back on Earth for several long minutes until the spacecraft emerged from behind the moon right on time. We waited for voice contact.
Apollo 8, loud and clear.
There we are.
Roger. Please be informed there is a Santa Claus.
There is a Santa Claus, the astronauts' historic confirmation that on Christmas Day they were headed home. This afternoon's telecast lasted about 10 minutes, with the astronauts spending the time showing and describing the spacecraft that has taken them so far so successfully.
What we thought we'd do today was just show you a little bit about life inside the Apollo 8. We've shown you the scenes of the moon, scenes of the Earth, and we thought we'd invite you into our home. It's been our home at least for 4 days. You can see on the instrument panel, we mark off each day on the instrument panel. We've 4 down, and we're working on the 5th day. Of course, we're all looking forward to the landing on Friday. And down here in the part of the spacecraft that we call the lower equipment bay, we have the President's Advisor on Physical Fitness, Captain Jim Lovell, about to undergo an exercise program that we do every day. You notice that he floats around very freely. Just bump his head on the optics of our navigating. He's working with an exercise device that's designed to keep him up in shape. What do you have today, Bill, for dinner? Well, here we have some cocoa. It'll be good. I'll be adding about 5 ounces of hot water to that. These are little sugar cookies. Some orange juice. Corn chowder. Chicken and gravy. And a little napkin to wipe your hands when you're done. I'll prepare some orange juice here. I hope that you all had better Christmas dinners today than this, but nevertheless, we thought you might be interested in how we eat.
Sam, any complaints around here, Frank? We'll bring you up to speed on your food when you get back.
Down in this area, it's called the LEB, or the Lower Equipment Bay, and we have our optics positioning equipment right here. We do all our navigation down here by studying on stars and on the horizons of either the moon or the Earth. And this is where we find out exactly where we are in space, what direction and how fast we're traveling. And our computer, as Frank had mentioned, then takes the information and tells us how to maneuver to get home safely. I work with the scanning telescope and the sextant, and occasionally if I get too busy, I just sort of float out of sight and go up into the tunnel, which is the tunnel to the hatch of the lunar module, which we don't have aboard, of course. Well, that's about all we have for today. Each and every one of us wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas.
In Washington, the Soviet embassy issued a statement praising the courage of the Apollo 8 astronauts and the achievements of U.S. space scientists. The statement was signed by Boris Petrov, a spokesman for the Russian space program, who wished the astronauts success in completing their mission and a safe landing. The astronauts' wives and families went to church this morning in Houston. CBS News correspondent Nelson Benton first asked Mrs. James Lovell her reaction to last night's mission success.
I'm just elated, and I'm just so thankful that my prayers have been answered.
How was this morning?
It's been actually a very lengthy Christmas this morning. I missed Jim, but it's one of the happiest Christmases I think I'll ever have.
Thank you very much. Can we get some reaction to how nice things have been going, Mrs. James?
Well, we all know how nice things have been going. This is truly a blessed Christmas, isn't it?
It is indeed. How was Christmas morning?
Quiet, very quiet. We're going to have another very quiet day.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you.
I'd like to say to everybody that, are you here?
Go ahead.
That I'm most grateful for everyone's good wishes and the prayers that have been said for the Apollo 8 crew. And this is certainly a very memorable Christmas to everyone, I think. And all of our hearts are filled with gratitude.
Running a big spread's a full-time job, especially when winter moves in. But there's always time for a flavor-packed smoke, for a Marlboro cigarette.
You get a lot to like with a Marlboro filter, flavor pack, or box.
Come to where the flavor is. Famous Marlboro Red or new Marlboro 100s, the Longhorns. Come to Marlboro Country.
The wives of the Apollo astronauts sent Christmas greetings today to the crewmen and families of the Pueblo. You have been in our thoughts and our prayers, the message said. Your reunion has brought great joy into our hearts this Christmas Day. The Pueblo crewmen and their wives had Christmas dinner together and exchanged gifts at a naval hospital in San Diego. Israeli and Jordanian troops fought a mortar and artillery duel for almost 3 hours today, about 20 miles northeast of Bethlehem. Each side blamed the other for starting the fight, and each said they suffered no casualties. In Bethlehem itself, however, there were no incidents as thousands of Christian pilgrims celebrated the birth of Christ. Ike Pappas reports.
As Christmas festivities began on the afternoon of the 24th, Bethlehem was under heavy security. You could feel the tenseness about the city as police cordoned off certain areas around the center of Bethlehem, Manger Square, where most of the ceremonies were to take place. Monsignor Alberto Gori, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, began the day by leading a procession through Manger Square to the Church of the Nativity for a brief service in the grotto, at the very spot, it is said, where Christ was born. Those that came early saw an unusual sight. The front of the police station draped with a huge white sheet of cloth. Later that night, on Christmas Eve, it was clear why. The Mass was televised by the Israeli National Broadcasting Organization. If disappointment is to be expressed about Christmas in the Holy Land this year, it probably will be over the size of the crowd that gathered in Bethlehem's main square to participate in the traditional high pontifical midnight Mass. Where 10,000 people were anticipated, less than half that number gathered in Manger Square to watch the Mass by way of television. Two reasons were given for the sparse turnout. First, the cold. Temperatures were in the low 30s, putting a bite in the brisk wind that blew across the square. But another reason besides the weather was given for the poor turnout: the threat of Arab terrorist action. There was a good deal of speculation around the square that warnings by Arab terrorists that they might strike tonight kept the crowds away. But through the night, Bethlehem remained calm. Ike Pappas, CBS News, Bethlehem.
Police in Des Moines have issued a warrant for a mental patient suspected of abducting 10-year-old Pamela Powers, a blonde, blue-eyed fourth grader. She had been watching a junior high school wrestling match with her parents at a YMCA yesterday, but disappeared when she went to the lobby to buy candy. A desk clerk said he saw a resident leave the building with a bulky blanket-wrapped bundle. From a photograph, the clerk identified the man as one who walked away from a mental hospital to which he had been committed as a sex offender.
What's the matter?
I can't sleep. I'm all tensed up.
Well, take a sleeping tablet.
Aren't they all alike?
No, this is different. It's Nitol.
See?
Sure, just follow directions, and it's non-habit forming.
So what's different?
Look, read this advertisement in Good Housekeeping.
Nitol's sleep-inducing ingredient dissolves more than twice as fast as any other leading brand.
It helps you get to sleep fast. You can wake up raring to go.
Nitol, with the Good Housekeeping seal. Listen to all the ways Corriga Denture Adhesive helps people with loose false teeth.
Corriga holds so tight I can eat almost anything.
Listen.
Corriga, nothing else ever got me through the day with such confidence.
Listen.
With Corriga, my mouth feels comfortable. Tastes nice and clean.
New Corriga does so much, helps you forget you're wearing false teeth.
50 miles northwest of Saigon today, U.S. and Viet Cong representatives held an unprecedented battlefield meeting to negotiate the release of 3 American prisoners. But after 2.5 hours, the efforts ended in failure, with the communists refusing to set a date for the men's release. However, a U.S. spokesman who described the talks as cordial says he believes further meetings will be held, although this was not confirmed officially. The Allies' 24-hour Christmas ceasefire already has ended, but the communist proclaimed truce has a few more hours to go. Both sides have accused each other of numerous violations, with the U.S. command reporting at least 121 incidents, of which 41 were described as major. 2 Americans have been killed and 27 wounded during the ceasefire period. One of those incidents occurred during Christmas services at a U.S. 1st Division base in Tainan Province. CBS newsman Tony Sargent was there.
Fire Support Base Junction City is near no junction. It certainly is no city. In this group of tents and sandbag bunkers, a battalion of the Army's 1st Division maintains mortars and artillery to fire in support of Allied troop movements.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son.
One part of Christmas reaches soldiers even here among the scrub forests of Tainan Province. This Christmas Sunday worship service is conducted by Chaplain Billy Joe Price. The chaplain is a modern circuit rider. Instead of a horse or a car, a helicopter helps him take his portable altar and his Christmas Sunday message to as many fighting men as he can reach. This unit has been through a lot of action in Vietnam. Almost every man here has seen death.
And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying,
Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Suddenly, the afternoon is shattered by the sound of enemy mortar rounds exploding in the camp.
Direction northeast.
Within seconds, everyone has taken shelter, trying to determine how severe the attack will be and where it comes from. The enemy has landed 5 rounds at the camp's edge. His aim was a little off. No one wounded so far.
Keep going. Deflection 0300.
105-millimeter howitzers hurl their shells into the attacker's firing position.
Look with favor upon these offerings, O Lord.
Almost without missing a beat, the worship area is transformed into a setting for Catholic Mass. The priest is Captain John Smith. Most men here view their barren Christmas philosophically. Specialist 4th Class John Stringer spent last Christmas in Korea. What kind of Christmas is it out here in the midst of nowhere?
Well, right now it's pretty hot. It's nothing like home. And, even though we do sit around and sing I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, you know, this is just like tradition for us. But it's terribly hot out here, and we can expect anything, anytime.
Well, 2 Christmases, one in Korea and the next one right in Vietnam, a little too much for any one soldier, isn't it?
No, it's not too much. You have to make the best of wherever you are. Now, I can't be home. I'm here, so I'll have to make the best of it. One good thing about it is that even though I'm not home, there's always something new to learn. Wherever you go, wherever in the world you are, you can always learn something new. So I'm here. There's something to learn out here, even though I can't go strolling off in the jungle as much as I would like to because it's beautiful out there. But at least there's something to learn here. Another language, a different culture, different people to meet. So I'm not complaining too much. As long as Charlie doesn't shoot at me, I'm happy, you know.
Czechoslovakia, a new move is underway today to oust Joseph Smirkovsky, the popular president of the National Assembly. Deputy Premier Gustav Husak, a Slovak, said in a televised Christmas speech that all Communist Party members are agreed that a Slovak should be president in the new federal government to be formed next month. Smirkovsky is a Czech. However, Czechoslovakian workers have threatened a general strike if Smirkovsky is removed, and only yesterday, Premier Chernik tried to reassure his countrymen by saying in a nationwide broadcast that Smirkovsky would continue to serve the government, although no specific post was mentioned.
When babies feed with ordinary bottles, air gets inside. Nipple often collapses. Air gets into baby's stomach. Not with Playtex, the nursing method most like mother herself. See, natural-shaped nipple can't collapse because as baby feeds, formula sac contracts. No air gets inside. Formula flows smoothly. Baby gets less air, more nourishment. And Playtex nurser sacs are pre-sterilized, disposable. Playtex nurser, the nursing method most like mother herself.
You're pinching.
Breathe in. This zipper sure doesn't close like it used to.
Any suggestions?
Of course. The Playtex Living Long Line Bra. The stretch panels smooth out midriff bulge comfortably. Even after 50 machine washings, the Playtex Long Line Bra stretches this way, that way, still stretches like new. So make all your dresses fit better, look better. With a Playtex Living Long Line Bra.
The death toll has been put at 20 in last night's crash near Bradford, Pennsylvania, of a twin-engine Allegheny airliner. 27 others survived when the plane went down in a light snowstorm while making a landing attempt. The flight was scheduled from Detroit to Washington with several intermediate stops. Vice President Humphrey has proposed that presidents be elected by popular vote and has challenged his Democratic Party to take the lead in a move to scrap the Electoral College system. Writing in a Democratic publication issued today, Humphrey noted the third-party threat of George Wallace in the last election, and in Humphrey's words, because of our archaic Electoral College system, there was a serious danger that the will of the people would be thwarted. Newlyweds Julie and David Eisenhower joined President-elect Nixon at Key Biscayne, Florida today for a quiet family Christmas. President Johnson and his family also observed the holiday in the traditional fashion at the White House. Some thoughts on the day now from Eric Severide. Eric?
We're not quite sure how things got this way, but Christmas is the day when presidents and presidents-elect don't have to work while bus conductors and broadcasters do. There are rumors around, of course, that listening to broadcasters can be work too, so perhaps a lot of other people are at hard labor. It seems to be easier for speakers to speak about wars and murders and riots than about love and peace and kindness, and we don't know how things got that way either. Somebody remarked once that our ancestors were embarrassed in the presence of the base, while this generation is embarrassed in the presence of the noble. It does seem to be true that with today's young, four-letter words come more easily to the lips than longer words like tolerance and charity. But we have an idea that youth runs to fads and fashions, and that all this will cease to be an in thing one day soon. We are told that the anniversary of Christ's birth is now hopelessly commercialized. Still, what Christmas is about is a human being, and we've never known a human being who felt that he was commercialized, just as we've never known one who felt that he was average or a member of the public. The central meaning of Christmas has to do with hope. We may pick out one of the shortest days in the year to celebrate hope, but somehow the habit persists. The poet Robert Frost was asked once if he was still hopeful about life. He said, "It goes on, it goes on. I don't hold with people who say, where do we go from here? I wouldn't get up in the morning if I thought we didn't have a direction to go in. But," he said, "if you ask me what the direction is, I don't answer." Right now, the direction is to the moon and back, and we suspect that Frost would have been thrilled by that. Most of us, of course, must deal with inner space, and computers and push buttons aren't much help. Words seem to be about the most effective devices we have. And I will take the liberty of repeating some old words here, their authorship in doubt, but words known to many of you. If there is a more perfect passage in English, we are unaware of it. There is nothing I can give you which you have not, but there is much that what I cannot give you can take. No heaven can come to us unless our hearts find rest in it today. Take heaven. No peace lies in the future which is not hidden in this present instant. Take peace. The gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within reach, is joy. Take joy. And so at this Christmas time, I greet you with a prayer that for you, now and forever, the day breaks and the shadows flee away.
Here's an important word from Bayer in case the flu epidemic hits your home. When the flu strikes, doctors and public health officials urge you to follow these 3 steps. Rest in bed, drink plenty of fluids, and take aspirin to reduce the fever and relieve the aches. So get Bayer aspirin now. Bayer is 100% aspirin, the world's best aspirin. And aspirin is what doctors and public health officials recommend. For the pains and fever of a cold or flu, Bayer works wonders.
When you have acid indigestion, every second counts. So count on instant-acting Phillips tablets. Phillips tablets go to work in seconds. With one of the fastest stomach settlers ever discovered, each small Phillips tablet neutralizes more excess stomach acid than the leading antacid tablet that comes in a roll. So for fast relief from acid-upset stomach, when every second counts, count on instant-acting Phillips tablets.
Last night, as the Apollo 8 astronauts were ending their Christmas Eve telecast, their spacecraft was speeding above the moon's desolate surface toward the lunar twilight. Unexpectedly, Commander Borman had an announcement, followed from deep in space by the ancient words of the book of Genesis.
We are now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning was the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
And that's the way it is, this Christmas Day, 1968. As all of us on the staff of the CBS Evening News wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. Mr. Walter Cronkite, good night.
You want your kids to get the iron they need. But kids often make faces at foods with iron, and some vitamins with iron don't taste much better. Zestab's chewable vitamins with iron are different. They're the only ones made with BioGuard to seal in the iron so kids can't taste it. Zestabs with iron taste like cherries instead. Do your kids make faces at cherries?
Romalar CF has more of what suppresses cough than any other leading brand. Coughs from a cold or flu. 8-hour Romalar CF is strong, fast-acting medicine. Strong medicine for big coughs.
That's a good boy.
Get the strong medicine for big coughs. Get Romalar CF.
Direct from our newsroom in New York, in color, this has been the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.